Baby steps, baby steps, baby steps. You gotta crawl before you can walk. You gotta walk before you can run. Whatever. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Clear the Ice with your boy Matty B here on the Edge of Philly Sports. 5-4 Flyers fall in overtime tonight to the Columbus Blue Jackets in a game that kind of saw a lot. You kind of experienced a lot with this game. The Flyers were down. They got back. They tied it. They went down again. Came back late. Tied it. Forced overtime. And then, of course, gave up a very beautiful executed 3-on-1 overtime break to the Columbus Blue Jackets as they were pretty much, there's not much you can do. I don't care if you're Kelly Lindbergh or Martin Brodeur combined into one person. There's not much you're going to be able to do on a 3-on-1 breakout in overtime when there's only 4 players on the ice to begin with. All that resulting in a 5-4 Flyers loss, as now the winless streak goes down to 4 games, as they do get a point, and that's kind of key here. It's good to see that. I spoke ad nauseum over the importance of coming out tonight and doing what they had to do to get a win. It doesn't quite equate to a win, but I'll take the point, any point that I can get at any juncture of time that I can get it with this team. So Flyers lose in overtime 5-4, and a lot of stuff to kind of unhinge here. Before the game, we found out that Wade Allison was going to be missing about a month with a with myriad of some lower body shoulder issues or whatever issues that he's going to have that's going to keep him out of the lineup temporarily, which is actually pretty good, seeing how we kind of thought this injury was going to be career threatening or season ending at one point this season when it initially occurred over the weekend. So it's good to see that he will be back hopefully within the next month or so. The Flyers made some roster moves. Kiefer Bellows joined the team. Tanner Lazinski was sent down to Lehigh, and Max Wilhelm was sent up from Lehigh to join the team, and he was there tonight to provide a little bit of giddy up in that Flyers lineup. As in John Tortorella's own words, they're just trying some new people out, and that's kind of what this season is, right? It's trying to see what is it. Just throw it against the wall and see what sticks. That's what the Flyers are hoping to do, but just about the entire team this year. But all that tonight, and a scrappy effort. A game that began really with the Flyers listless in the first period. Their forechecking game was just god awful. Travis Konechny was god awful. At one point, I guess you guys caught the telecast. They were talking to John Tortorella on the bench and they asked him about how he thinks his team is today, and I guess Tortorella just said, "We suck." And I can really, really appreciate that, and I definitely appreciate that kind of head coach. We've needed one of those like that here for a very long time, and it's good to see that. As I said, I would pay money to be able to sit in that locker room and listen to him colorfully talk to his team in between periods and during practice, because a character he is. But that didn't help the Flyers tonight, and it ain't going to help them most nights. But 5-4 is your final tonight in overtime. The Flyers do go down, but they do get a point. It's now no longer a losing streak. I don't care what you say, folks. All right, a losing streak to me, when you lose something, you don't get no points, right? Or you don't get nothing from it. They got something from this tonight. They got a point. So it's not a loss. It's not a win. It's an overtime loss, right? So I like to refer to these types of streaks as a 4-game winless streak, because they've gotten some points, or they've gotten a point in the process. So, hey, don't judge me. I'm taking something where I can get it, and I want to run with it. So 5-4 overtime is your final. Let's talk a little bit about this game. Let's go inside the numbers. The Flyers, listen, for the 4th straight game tonight, outshot their opponent 37-33. Very positive sight to see. The Flyers on the season now have improved to 473 shots for against 549. Definitely starting to kind of work their way out of that funk, that just god awful. They were just being destroyed on the shots every night, but they've really kind of pulled themselves out of that over the last 4 games. And that's, again, another positive scene or positive sign for this team. They were out face-off tonight, 29-32. On the power play, the Flyers were 1 for 2 tonight. Again, another positive sign. They were kind of sinking there for a while. They now improved to 9 for 52 on the season, raising their efficiency 1% to 17% on the season, which I'll take. Flyers scored 28 power play goals all of last year. They have 9 through 16 games. I will take it. They did give up a power play goal. They were only penalized one time, or sorry, they were penalized 3 times. They gave up one power play goal. And you know what? Aside from the first 15 minutes of the game, they were able to kind of uh, pull themselves together. Got a little bit more physical coming into that second period. Was definitely a better second period as they held their own, and they held their own against the Blue Jackets, who are not a good team. Boone Jenner will get the nod for first star efforts. He had 2 goals, no assists. Gavin Kovorg, he's your number 2 star, 1 goal and assist. And Travis Konecny comes in that 3-star hole with a goal and assist for the Flyers. Carter Hart got the nod tonight for the Flyers in net. Played stretches of this game very good. Again, I'm not going to fault Carter at all for the overtime thing. I don't know what he could have done there. 3-on-1. It was a breakdown, turnover. What are you going to do? He did his best. He did face. He faced 33 shots, or he made 33 saves, gave up 5 goals, saved 28 with a save percentage of .848 on the night for him. As he continues to try to hold his own and try to hold his team in the games. For the Blue Jackets, a very interesting situation. Marquinhos, who started the game, left with an injury in the second period. Korpisalo had to come on to finish it out. Marquinhos had 17 saves against. He gave up 2 goals, and Korpisalo was 20 saves, and he gave up 2 goals as well. As the Blue Jackets are facing their own injury issues this season, as they are just decimated right now, and it continues to get worse. They might have lost a goalie. So the scoring, how it all happened at the 12:36 mark. Sean Curley got things going for the Blue Jackets, his 3rd of the year, from Garvinko and Robinson. And that's how your first period would end, 1-0. In the second, the Blue Jackets extended their lead to 2-0 with their power play goal. It was Boone Jenner from Johnny Gaudreau and Kent Johnson. But then the Flyers on the comeback trail. Kevin Hayes at 8:54 with his 4th goal from Konecny and Lawton, and then Noah Cates at 12:16, his 3rd from Zach McEwen and Owen Tippett would knot things up at 2. And that's how we would go into the third period. And once again, the Flyers would find themselves on the low end as Boone Jenner at the 3:22 mark made it 6 with his 6th goal of the season, make it 3-2. And then just a few seconds later, about 15 seconds, Eric Robinson, his 2nd of the season from Oliver and York, and making it 4-2. But then here come the Flyers. Sealer at 4:58, his 2nd from Morgan Frost and Joel Farabee. And then Travis Konecny at the 9:14 mark, his 7th on the power play from Noah Cates and Kevin Hayes. Tied things up at 4, and that's how we would go into overtime. And then Garbin would get the game winner. I know I'm butchering that name. Would get the game winner, his 2nd of the season. And that's how we would finish tonight, 5-4 on the season. Now the Flyers have fallen to 7-6-3. As I mentioned, they did get a power play goal tonight. They were 1 for 2. It's a positive sign. It's a positive sign for a team that's looking for anything right now, and I'll take it. There's a lot of positive signs in this game. Their fight, their in-game adjustments, the way they were able to come back and kind of adjust to what was happening. It was not a good first period. They were getting kind of skated off the ice a little bit. Carter Hart was doing everything he could to keep the team in it. But then whatever was said at intermission by Tortorella got this team back together. They came out with a much better forecheck in the second period, a much better, cleaner effort, really better passing, better entry zone play. And as I said, we're taking the play to them more. But the Blue Jackets are a bad team, and we're struggling to get over the hump against them. It obviously it doesn't look good overall, but you got to take it where you can get it. And the Flyers do fall tonight in overtime, 7-6-3 now on the season. Good for 17 points. Kind of still holding service there, middle bottom of the Metro Division in the Eastern Conference. So next for the Flyers, Thursday night, this road trip this week will continue on the way to Boston as they will battle the best team in the East. And an interesting game. Definitely a watermark game for this team right now. And not so much in what you might think I mean, but can we skate with the Bruins? Can we take advantage of opportunities that the Bruins may give to us? And can we limit the damage or the self-inflicted wounds to us against a team like the Boston Bruins? And then it's on the Montreal to finish up the week. So a daunting week ahead for the Flyers, and they didn't necessarily put to bed the losing streak, but definitely getting a point and scoring 4 goals as well are positive signs for this young team as they continue to try to find their way through this season and dealing with the loss of Wade Allison now for at least a month, I guess they're saying. Next man up, right? Max Wilhelm was that guy. It's nice good to see Kiefer Bellows get some opportunities. I think he's a good player, and I honestly think that the change of scenery from New York to Philadelphia will do him well, and I think he will work out well for us in the long run. But this trying season continues. But overall, I was pleased with the effort. Overall, I was pleased of what they put forth tonight. It was a much better performance than what they did over the weekend, and I got it. The quality of team wasn't quite there, but a better effort altogether for this team, and it equated in a point. And as I said, you got to be able to take things. You got to be able to take things from this thing. You got to be able to extract some of the good stuff and move forward with that. Let's kind of switch gears now in the program where we check in our boy Connor Bednard from the Regina Pats. Connor, again, the consensus number 1 overall pick this summer, hopefully, for the Flyers, if they're lucky enough to get him. He has now played 20 games through this season with 18 goals, 25 assists, 43 points, 30 penalty minutes, and a stellar plus 10. 30 penalty minutes is pretty interesting for a scorer. It's a very interesting stat. I didn't really expect that number to be quite as high. And he seems to kind of be adding to that on a nightly basis. So that tells me a couple things about Connor. It tells me that he's a gritty player. It tells me that he's a scrapper. It tells me that he goes in the corners and he doesn't like to lose. So keep on keeping on, Connor, and hopefully one day soon we'll be together. But yeah, 5-4 Flyers fall tonight to the Columbus Blue Jackets in overtime, and a much better performance overall by this team as they are moving their way through the first half or first quarter of the 2022-2023 regular season. And don't forget, here on the Edge of Philly Sports, we are chock full of all kinds of content. If you're looking for it, it's here. We got lacrosse, we got soccer, we got the 4 majors, we got it all. So please go ahead and check us out when you can. You will not be disappointed. And then also don't forget to check this guy out if you have some issues with workman's comp, motor vehicle accidents, personal injury or criminal law. Dave Cherry at 610-565-0300. Tell him Matty B sent you. Also check out Philly Sports Trips. Heavy with Eagle stuff, but also some Flyer stuff too. So go out there on the road and support the Flyers and also have a great time doing it with Philly Sports Trips. I guarantee you will not be disappointed. And don't forget about Dolan's Bar, the only bar in the Delco region of southeastern Pennsylvania. Folks, as always, a pleasure and an honor to join you every post game, and we'll continue doing this. We're not going to stop. I promise you, we will not stop. But actually, let me break free here because let's hear from the head coach about his what he thought about tonight. So here we go. We got John Tortorella.
We heard your description of the first period. What differences did you see going into the second?
We started forechecking, had more energy. found a way to lose.
You talked about before the game, like instituting changes in the special teams. Did you feel like they did that tonight? The things that you were working on.
I thought our power play was better tonight. Yeah, scored a goal to get us a point. As we've talked about during the year, that's helped us get some points. Is getting at least one power play goal a game. We score 4 tonight and we still lose. But yeah, first period, I just don't think we played that well in the first period, and I thought we started playing better.
I guess, what can you take away from coming back from down 2 twice in the game?
Yeah, I mean, we've done that all year long. We put ourselves in those situations quite a bit. We can't live in that property. We can't be there all the time. And that's what was frustrating for the first period for me is I wanted us to take it to them. And again, I don't think we were awful. I just don't think we played with the proper energy. But then at second period, I thought we started forechecking more, but we just don't get it done.
Talking about taking away positives and the negatives of games, how do you take the positive, that resiliency, and apply it to resiliency from game to game, coming back from losses?
Yeah, we're trying. Again, it's our job when you're kind of stuck in losing some games here. It's our job to try to help them. We've been trying to show a lot of the things that we're doing well. Quite honestly, a lot better than when we were winning games. Yeah, you lean on that resiliency. You can hear it on the bench when we're down by a couple, that we still have plenty of time. So I think as we've gone through it, we don't want to be there all the time, but as we have found a way. So we find a way to get a point. our starts. We just need to figure out our starts as far as the energy.
You talked about mental toughness a lot. I guess in this biggest test so far this season, how do you actually develop that mental toughness in your team?
Yeah, going through experiences, going through some bad times, even from game to game, from shift to shift. When the momentum is not going your way, who's going to pull you out of it? Who's going to try to make a difference? I'm still looking for players to have that mindset of follow me. I just don't see it often enough from some guys, and those are the things you look for as you develop your team. Yeah, so it's a hard question to answer because there's so many things that come into play, but that's how you win in the league is a mindset. It's not X's and O's, it's a mindset. I think at times we have the proper one. Other times, for some guys, it's a work in progress.
With more injury news coming, Scott Laughton said the veterans really need to step up. What did you see from them tonight, and what more do you need from them?
Yeah, I got to watch the tape. We score a big power play goal. A lot of the older guys were on that power play. I got to watch the tape before I can give you some thoughts.
All right, that was John Tortorella post game from Columbus. So it's the same stuff, right? We're hearing about this, the resiliency and the stick-to-itness and stuff like that, and I can hear it in his voice. It's frustrating him because resiliency and fighting and all that. Yeah, you want to see that, but he's also not prepared to kind of pass that along for the fact that they're just not consistent enough as hockey players, and they're just not consistent enough as a team to where they shouldn't be consistently put in a position to be resilient all the time. And you can start hearing that frustration from him. And then also he brought up the leadership issue there. Once again, you're looking for a guy, looking for that voice, looking for that guy that's going to stand up and say, hey, all the time, come follow me. That's what he said. So obviously some of the issues that this team is still kind of working itself out with, when it comes to that leadership role and that leadership model. And I hate to beat a dead horse on this and everything, but it really kind of takes me back to what in the hell was Claude Giroux doing as a captain when he left just all this none of that bled off in anybody else, and no one took him as a mentor and tried to figure out how to be a captain and whatnot. So again, a leaderless ship, so to speak, still kind of not up to the standard that John Tortorella wants. And again, you can hear the resiliency talk. And were you happy about them fighting back? Were you happy about the way they showed, chutzpah, I guess, so to speak, by coming back twice from multiple goal deficits? And he's like, yeah, but we shouldn't be there in the first place. So these are all the right things that he's saying. And, you know, maybe we take for granted the resiliency factor of this team. Maybe we're taking for granted that they're supposed to be fighters, that they're supposed to be scrapping. And now John Tortorella, who's of course around these guys all the time, he's been around the game all his life, sees it from a different spectrum that, you know what, these are things that you're supposed to have as players. Now I want to see it applied to on the ice, and I want to see wins, come from it. So frustration is starting to creep into his voice a little bit, maybe. But I love the message. And again, I would pay money to be inside that dressing room to hear him address the team. But that was John Tortorella down there or out there in Columbus post game talking about tonight's 5-4 overtime loss to the Columbus Blue Jackets, dropping the Flyers to 7-6-3 on the season. They are now in the midst of a 4-game winless streak. Don't call it a losing streak. We've been here before. It's a winless streak because they have not won a game, but they did not technically lose this game because they did get a point. Again, don't judge me. I'm taking what I can from this. So the Flyers will be back at it on Thursday night, and we will be here to bring it all to you post game on Clear the Ice. Until we talk again, let's go Flyers.